well, how can I ever get better? All these guys get all the reps and I only get 2. And he said, just go in there and focus with the 2 that you got and make them as perfect as you possibly can.
I hated playing against Ed Reed. That's what Tom Brady said when asked about one of the toughest opponents of his career. Reed wasn't just a safety, he was a quarterback's nightmare. Every snap against the Baltimore Ravens meant Brady had to find him first. Reed's instincts were unmatched. He could make a quarterback think a receiver was open, then cut in at the last second to steal the ball. Brady respected his talent, but it drove him crazy. No matter how much film he studied, Reed was always a step ahead. Even perfect passes weren't safe. For Brady, it wasn't personal. It was knowing that Reed could change a game in one play, and that made him one of the few players Brady truly hated facing. And by the way, videos like this take hours of digging through old games and sleepless nights of editing. So if you want more of these deep dives, the best thank you can give is tapping that like button and subscribing. Now, let's start the list. Ed Reed wasn't just another name on the Ravens roster, he was the heartbeat of their defense. He played safety, but in reality, he was everywhere. Brady once said that when you faced Baltimore, you weren't just playing the Ravens, you were playing Ed Reed's mind games. And those games were hard to win. Reed had this rare gift that even the best quarterbacks hated. He could disguise his coverage so well that you'd think he was out of position. Then, in a split second, he'd close the gap, snatch the ball, and take it the other way. He didn't just settle for interceptions, he often turned them into points. That made him dangerous in a way most defenders weren't. Brady learned that lesson the hard way. In 2009, Reed picked him off and returned it for a touchdown, and it wasn't even a bad throw. It was just that Reed knew exactly where the ball was going before it left Brady's hand. Moments like that stuck with Brady. He admitted that when preparing for the Ravens, the game plan always had a big red circle around Reed's name. Even in practice, Brady studied Reed's film more than almost any other player. He'd slow down clips, watching how Reed's feet moved, how his head turned, trying to catch the smallest clue. But the problem was, Reed studied Brady too, and sometimes it felt like Reed knew Brady's playbook better than Brady himself. For all the frustration, Brady respected Reed's genius. He once said that if Reed was on your team, you'd love him, but if you had to play against him, you almost dreaded Sunday. That mix of fear, respect, and frustration is what made Ed Reed one of Tom Brady's greatest and most unforgettable rivals. If there's one name that still stings for Tom Brady, it's Nick Foles. Not because they met dozens of times, but because one of those meetings came on the biggest stage in football, Super Bowl LEI. The Patriots were heavy favorites. Brady threw for over 500 yards, and yet they still lost. And the quarterback who outplayed him that night wasn't Peyton Manning or Aaron Rodgers. It was Nick Foles. Foles wasn't supposed to be there. He had stepped in for the injured Carson Wentz late in the 2017 season. But once the playoffs started, he caught fire. By the time he faced Brady in Minneapolis, he was playing with nothing to lose, and it showed. The Eagles' offense kept answering every Patriot score, and Brady could never pull away. The most famous moment of that game didn't even involve Brady directly. It was the Philly Special, a trick play where Foles caught a touchdown pass right before halftime. It was bold, almost disrespectful, and it worked perfectly. For a competitor like Brady, watching the opposing quarterback haul in a touchdown catch while you're still chasing points is the kind of thing that burns into your memory. After the game, there was an awkward moment that fans never forgot. As confetti fell and cameras swarmed, Brady walked off the field without shaking Foles' hand. He later downplayed it, but the images told the story. That loss wasn't just another defeat, it took away a chance at ring number 6 in his New England years and handed Foles a Super Bowl MVP. Since then, Brady has spoken politely about Foles, but you get the sense that the 41-33 score is something he'll never fully get over. In a career filled with wins, Nick Foles is one of the rare names who got the better of Tom Brady when it mattered most. If Nick Foles gave Tom Brady one nightmare, Eli Manning gave him 2. And both happened in the Super Bowl. Brady has more championships than any quarterback in NFL history, but the one opponent who always seemed to have his number on the biggest stage was Manning and the New York Giants. The first heartbreak came in February 2008. Brady's Patriots were chasing perfection. They had gone 16-0 in the regular season and were one win away from the greatest season ever. But the Giants, led by Manning, refused to play along. In the final minutes, Manning escaped what looked like a sure sack, launched the ball downfield, and watched David Tyree make the famous helmet catch. That play set up the game-winning touchdown and ended the Patriots' perfect dream. 4 years later, it happened again. Super Bowl XLVI in 2012 was Brady's shot at revenge, and the Patriots were leading in the fourth quarter. But Manning stayed calm, marching the Giants down the field. The key moment came when he dropped a perfect pass into Mario Manningham's hands along the sideline, a throw so precise that even Brady had to respect it later. Once again, the Giants scored late, and once again, Brady walked off the field in disbelief. What made it worse for Brady was that Manning wasn't the kind of quarterback most people compared to him. He wasn't breaking records or winning MVPs every year. But when it came to facing Brady in the Super Bowl, he was flawless. Over time, the two have shown respect for each other, even sharing laughs on TV. But for Brady, those two losses will always be a reminder that no matter how great you are, there's always someone out there who can ruin your biggest night. And in his case, that someone was Eli Manning. Before February 2008, most NFL fans outside of New York probably couldn't tell you much about David Tyree. He was a backup wide receiver for the Giants, more known for his work on special teams than for making big plays. But in one night, he went from an unknown name to the man who helped shatter Tom Brady's perfect season. It was Super Bowl X12, and the Patriots were 18-0. They had the league's best offense, led by Brady and Randy Moss, and most people thought they would cruise to a win. But with just over a minute left, the Giants were trailing and desperate. On third down, Eli Manning somehow slipped away from a sack, rolled to his right, and launched the ball down the middle of the field. Tyree leapt up, and Patriots safety Rodney Harrison was all over him, pulling at his arms. Somehow, Tyree trapped the ball against his helmet and came down with the catch. It looked impossible. In fact, he admitted later that he'd never even practiced a play like that. It was pure instinct and determination. That single catch kept the Giants' drive alive, and a few plays later, they scored the touchdown that ended the Patriots' perfect season. For Brady, it had to feel like a punch in the gut. He had done everything to put his team in position to win, only to watch it slip away because of a miracle catch by a player who wasn't even a star. Tyree's career was short, and he never made another catch in the NFL after that season. But he didn't need to. That one moment was enough to make him a permanent name in Super Bowl history, and a permanent thorn in Tom Brady's memory. Tom Brady has always been honest about one thing: he hates getting hit. And when it came to delivering those hits, few did it more often than Kyle Williams. The longtime Buffalo Bills defensive tackle made a career out of getting in Brady's face, and he didn't just do it once or twice. Over the years, Williams hit Brady 24 times and sacked him 7 times, making him one of the most persistent thorns in Brady's side. Williams wasn't flashy. He didn't talk trash or try to get into Brady's head with words. He let his play do the talking, and it spoke loudly. Standing 6'1" and weighing over 300 pounds, Williams had a rare mix of power and quickness that allowed him to break through the Patriots' offensive line again and again. For Brady, playing against the Bills during Williams' career meant preparing for constant pressure right up the middle, the kind quarterbacks hate the most. Edge rushers can be avoided by stepping up in the pocket, but when the pressure comes from a guy like Williams straight ahead, there's nowhere to go. One of their most memorable clashes came in 2011, when the Bills ended a long losing streak against New England. Williams was a big part of that win, pushing the Patriots linemen back and forcing Brady into mistakes. Even in games the Patriots won, Brady often walked away sore and frustrated after another afternoon of being chased by number 95. Despite all the hits, there was respect between them. Brady has called Williams one of the toughest competitors he's faced, and Williams has praised Brady's mental toughness. But respect doesn't erase the memory of all those sacks and bruises, and for Brady, Kyle Williams will always be remembered as one of the few players who consistently made his Sundays miserable. When Chad Ochocinco Johnson joined the New England Patriots in 2011, fans thought it could be a perfect match. Brady would throw the passes, Ochocinco would make the big plays, and the Patriots' offense would be even more dangerous. But things didn't turn out that way. From the start, it was clear that Brady and Ochocinco didn't see the game, or even the locker room, the same way. Ochocinco was one of the NFL's biggest personalities. He loved the spotlight, celebrated every catch, and shared everything on social media. That style might have worked in Cincinnati, but New England was different. The Patriots' culture under Bill Belichick was all about focus, discipline, and keeping things quiet. There were no flashy celebrations, no constant tweeting, and Brady had fully bought into that mindset. Reports from that season said Brady and Belichick both grew frustrated with Ocho Cinco's inability to pick up the Patriots' complex playbook. While Brady thrived on precision and timing, Ocho Cinco struggled to be in the exact spot Brady expected. In the Patriots system, one small mistake in a route can kill an entire play, and Brady isn't known for hiding his frustration when that happens. The numbers told the story. In a full season, Ocho Cinco caught only 15 passes for 276 yards and just 1 touchdown. For a player who had been one of the league's top receivers in Cincinnati, it was a huge drop-off. Off the field, Ocho Cinco's love for the camera and constant social media updates didn't help. In a locker room where the motto was, "Do your job and keep quiet," his personality clashed with everything Brady valued. By the end of the year, it was clear the experiment had failed. Brady never publicly attacked Ocho Cinco, but the tension was obvious. For a quarterback obsessed with preparation and focus, Chad Johnson's showman style was never going to be a good fit, and that season proved it. Tom Brady's career is stacked with trophies, records, and moments that will live forever. But even the greatest quarterback of all time had players who got under his skin. Ed Reed's brilliance, Nick Foles and Eli Manning's Super Bowl heartbreaks, David Tyree's impossible helmet catch, Kyle Williams's relentless hits, and Chad Johnson's clash of personalities, each one left a scar, and each one tells a chapter of Brady's story. These weren't just games. They were personal battles. Nights of studying film until your eyes burned, mornings of walking into the stadium knowing you had to be perfect, and still leaving the field with the sting of defeat. That's what made these rivalries unforgettable. If you enjoyed this video, remember, it took countless hours of digging through old games, tracking down stories, and editing late into the night to bring it to life. So if you learned something new, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. It's the best way to support the channel so we can keep making videos like this. Now tell us, who do you think belongs on Tom Brady's list of most hated rivals? Drop your thoughts in the comments and we might feature them in a future video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.